What's holding your business back from massive success? You might be thinking that the success to your business growing exponentially lies in the boardroom. That's not the case. Your answer is hiding in plain sight. Meet the real MVPs of any business, your frontline staff. In this video, I'm going to share with you how even the smallest roles can have massive impact. In any successful organization, the foundation is built on the people who are on the front lines every single day. Your frontline staff is the face of the business. They're the ones who interact with your customers and bring your business or brand to life. So how do you make sure that they're representing your company in the best way possible so you can maximize profit? Let's break it down in this video. Just for context, I have over 15 years of experience as an entrepreneur, and I've personally hired thousands of frontline staff. I'm currently in the HR space right now, and every day we hire a couple of frontline people. So this allows us to have a lot of experience dealing with frontline staff. So I want to condense 15 years of recruiting, training, onboarding, motivating, all that stuff within the next couple of minutes, however long this video is. So stick with me, let's break it down. Just to make sure we're on the same page, frontline staff includes everyone, like customer service reps, sales associates, administrative assistants, frontline technicians, operational support staff. Anytime your business has a core deliverable, your frontline staff is typically around that. If you're in a marketing agency, well, then you have marketing professionals making those ads. We have a recruiting firm. We have recruiters and people who are HR admins that help us process around our core deliverable. Frontline staff is basically anybody responsible for the day-to-day execution of your business's operation. In this episode, we're going to cover actionable insights on hiring, training, motivating, and tracking the key metrics of all of your frontline staff. Let's get into it. By the way, this episode is the first episode in our series of The Anatomy of a Winning Team, from frontline to boardroom. Today, we're covering the frontline staff. The next video is going to be about your mid-level staff. When you think of your business, I want you to think of a pyramid. At the very bottom, you have your frontline staff. Right above them, you have your mid-level managers. Above those people, you have your senior managers. And above those people, you have your executives. And out over here, outside of the triangle or the pyramid, you have your board of advisors. I'm going to walk you through what that looks like. I scale companies for a living. In my day-to-day workflow, we work with companies that are transitioning from startups to small businesses to medium-sized businesses, medium-sized business to large corporations or enterprises, and those big companies either being bought out or acquiring other businesses. So I'm going to break all that down for you in this video. Let's go. First, let's define what is an actual frontline staff. Frontline staff are those who are closest to the day-to-day operations of your business. Frontline staff are often the first point of contact of your business. Your frontline staff are the face of your company. This makes them crucial to the perception and the experience, as well as the profitability of your organization. The role of the frontline staff is insanely important. Your frontline staff have a direct impact on customer experience. Your frontline staff has the ability to make long-lasting impressions on your customers. They also impact customer satisfaction. Your frontline staff handle operations. They ensure the day-to-day operations of your business are running smoothly. They're opening up, they're closing down, they're sending in the deposits into the bank. That makes them essential to your business, not only in their efficiency, but their effectiveness and your profitability. Your frontline staff are great because they problem solve on the fly. You have to have very adaptive people on the front line, because anytime there's a problem with either one of your processes or your customers, or maybe a prospect, somebody who wants to get into your business, your frontline staff, they have the ability to solve that. They have the ability to handle that, or they have the ability to mess it up. So it's very important, it's crucial that you are taking your frontline staff seriously. Because your frontline staff are dealing with problems on the day-to-day basis, it's crucial that they're proactive, and that they're always following a solution-based mindset. They accept that problems are going to come inside your organization, and they accept that they're going to be the ones to handle it. If they can't handle it, cool, they can escalate it to another person, but for the most part, they should be able to handle 70 to 80% of whatever problem is going on. Let's talk, what skills do you need to be looking for as a founder, as an entrepreneur in your frontline staff? We've already covered what they do, how important they are. So how do you identify these people? In my experience, these are the absolutely critical, crucial skills or qualities or traits they must have. Number one is reliability. If you can't count on this person to open and close in your business, don't even hire them. Don't do it. Number two is going to be adaptability. Because they're working on the front line and they're dealing with your most important asset, your customers, or the stuff that your customer is going to touch, whether it's your product, whether it's your service, they have to be extremely adaptable because problems will arise. And finally, they have to be customer centric. They have to be obsessed with your customers, their satisfaction, their experience. You have to be looking for people that are obsessed with customer service and customer experience. These are the key skills that we look for whenever we're hiring frontline staff. Number one is communication. Your frontline staff absolutely needs to be able to clearly and effectively communicate with your customers or fellow team members who are working on that product or service that your customers will ultimately be receiving. Number two, problem solving. They should be able to think on their feet and provide solutions even if you haven't found a solution for them. Number three, empathy and patience. Your frontline staff absolutely require the ability to have empathy with your customers, their needs, and patience with their fellow coworkers and maybe your third-party vendors and suppliers. Things are going to come up. You cannot be having impatient people with a temper on your front line. That's a recipe for refunds, bad reviews, and negative press. Adaptability is another thing that I look for when I hire frontline staff. You're in business. What works today might not work tomorrow or next week. Procedures, protocols, they're going to be constantly changing. You might switch from one vendor or supplier to another one and a whole new workflow is established. You need to have people on your frontline staff adaptable and ready for growth. And then finally, a lot of frontline staff need technical skills. If you have a marketing agency, you need somebody who can run ads, a media buyer, someone who knows what they're doing, a graphic designer, a video producer, or maybe you need somebody who can write up blueprints or do some architecture plans, or maybe they're a plumber, maybe they're a carpenter, maybe there's somebody that has some kind of, trade that they're working on. You need people with technical skill on the frontline staff. So if your frontline staff is super important, how do you as a founder support your frontline staff? It's easy, and it comes in two forms. The first one is going to be onboarding. The second one is going to be continued training. Effective training and support systems are crucial to the growth of the professional or frontline staff that you're working with, not only as they come on, but as they continue to grow and have a career path within your organization. If they know when they join your organization that they're going to be supported every step of the way, they're going to have more confidence in you and your business, because we have recruiters on our team, and our recruiters go after people who have jobs because they're doing really good at their job. And if we come knocking on their door, the really good companies that are hard to steal talent from, their team members, their employees, they say, you know what? I don't know what your business is like, but this business, they got their stuff together. They have protocols, they have training, they have a career path for me. And I don't know if your company has that. I'm just going to stay here because I got it good here. That's what you want your team members saying about your company. So let's talk about onboarding. Onboarding isn't just like, hey, do this, pull this lever, push this button. It's way more than that. It's, what is our company culture? What is our company values? How do you be successful here? When you onboard somebody, you say, hey, this is what I need you to do now, but you know what? In 6 months, 9 months, a year, 15 months, 18 months, 24 months, 2 years, 2.5 years, 3 years. This is what we plan for you. This is a typical career path within our organization. By the way, we have other roles and other departments. If you ever feel like you want something of a change and we like working with you, we want to put you in those opportunities. What you want to communicate to them is, we're a growing company. You can grow here. You don't need to be looking for jobs and applying for jobs on the weekend and interviewing and going away somewhere between the next 3 to 6 months. You don't need to do that because we've got your career path. We have your growth inside of this organization. Stick with us and we're going to stick with you. That's what you really want to communicate when you're onboarding somebody. And of course, you want to show them how to pull the levers, how to push the buttons. You want to show them how the protocols work. You want to allow them to be in a position to contribute to your organization from day one or within a reasonable time frame, especially if you have more complex workflows or processes. Some of you guys are like, oh my God, they can't be effective on day one. Some of the best companies that I work with, we don't have anybody on the frontline staff do anything, sometimes 6 to 12 weeks until after they start. They just shadow and observe and they understand how things work. That's it. Another part of this is going to be continued training. So after they're onboarded, well, you want to constantly give your team members an opportunity to upskill. If you have team members and you make them more valuable by giving them more skills, guess what? They're more valuable to your organization. They're more valuable to your customers. They're more valuable to the potential growth of your organization. So if you see potential in somebody, give them some training. Even if you don't see potential in somebody, some people aren't, especially on the frontline level, they don't have anybody that believes in them. But if you have management or if you have leadership yourself in place inside of your organization, you'll be able to guide people and have people level up within your organization. And guess who benefits from that? Your business does. And that's something that you need to strive for as a founder who wants to grow with the most important asset of any company, and that's going to be your frontline staff. One thing that's often neglected is going to be soft skill trainings. A lot of companies, they focus very heavily on technical skills, which are absolutely required. But as people start to level up in their career, they're going to need soft skills training. These are things like communication, leadership, project management, conflict resolution. You're going to have to teach them these frameworks so they can be effective inside of your organization. Now, one of the things that I personally have done is I've established a career path to mid-level management, senior level management, and even executive level management. And I clearly state this to everyone in our team who joins. I said, this is what it's like to be successful here. This is what you have in store if you decide to commit to it. If you don't like this, we have this, this, and this. So whatever you're looking for, we got it here inside of our business. And then finally, one of the most effective ways to onboard and train your people, is going to be getting them product knowledge. Whatever you sell, whatever service you provide, you have to train your people in your industry, in the norms, in your product, in your service. They have to understand product knowledge, because if your customer asks a question to your staff and they don't know the answer, you might lose a sale, you might lose an account, you might lose a customer, you might have a refund, you might have a negative review, you might have a bad customer experience. They might tell everybody you have bad publicity now. So you don't want any of that. You want to make sure that all of your team members, especially on the front line, have as much product knowledge and more that they need so they can be very successful. The best way to do that is going to be with 3 support systems. The first line of support is going to be managerial support. We're going to cover this in the next video, but your managers are a resource for your frontline staff. If you're a founder and you're an entrepreneur, your job is to grow your business, shake hands, kiss babies, deal make, decision make, grow the company, raise capital, do those kinds of things. Your managers should be actually leading, mentoring, supervising, and managing your frontline staff. You ideally want 98% of that workflow handled within your management and your frontline staff. Your managers are going to give your frontline staff guidance, feedback, coaching, and mentorship. Number 2, access to resources. Your company works best if you have a centralized knowledge system. We have what's called an LMS, a learning management system. You could easily make this on a Google Drive with record a Zoom video or record a Loom video and just put it there. Whatever it looks like, having a centralized knowledge base allows your team members to go to your own internal help desk and look up, hey, how do I do this? If I want to do this, or if I just got this new position, how do I do this thing? You as a founder should have this in place inside of your organization so your team members are able to be successful. And that's what we do with our clients. All of our clients, whenever they start working with us, they don't really have any kind of documentation. They don't have any kind of centralized support system. So we create that. Eventually, we create an operations manual. And what that does for us and our clients is that it allows us to eventually sell that business at a really high profit margin, at a really high multiplier. Because a lot of times when a company, especially private equity firm, comes in, they don't want to buy something where they have to hire a founder and have that founder teach them everything over the next 2 years. They want to buy a business in a box. They want to say, I want to pay money and I want to get an operations manual that tells me how to run this whole thing. And that's an example of having a centralized knowledge base or access to resources for your frontline staff. And then finally, peer support and mentoring. It's very crucial that your frontline staff at the peer level, that they mentor each other, that they coach each other. You have like a big brother or a big sister type of environment where you just say, hey, this is your buddy. We're using the buddy system. This is your big buddy. They're gonna train you for the next 6 months. Then in the next 6 months, when somebody else comes in, now you're their big buddy and you're gonna be coaching them and teaching them. One of the things that's worked out very well for our clients and myself has been team motivation at the frontline level. So I'm going to share some things that have worked for us and our clients as well. Now you might be asking yourself, why the heck do I want to motivate my frontline staff? Well, number one, it keeps them doing a good job. If they're doing a good job, your customers continue paying. If your customers continue paying, you still get to keep your business open. Keeping your frontline staff reduces turnover or churn, people leaving your company, and it improves overall performance and experience for everybody involved, both internally with your team members and externally with your customers, your service providers, and your partners. So here's 5 motivation strategies that I personally use and that I teach my clients to use so they can motivate their frontline staff. Number 1, you have to have a clear communication of your goals. Your frontline staff, they're not mind readers. They don't know what you want. You need to set clear, specific, measurable, actionable goals for them to be able to achieve. And you need to explain to them when they hit these goals, how does that contribute to the larger growth of the organization? You have to tell them, this is what I need you to do. This is what I'm going to track you on. And this is how this helps our company grow. You got to tell them just like that. That's what's been insanely helpful for us, because in the past, when I brought somebody on and I didn't communicate the goals to them, both of us were having a negative experience. I was like, well, why is this person doing this? Why is this person doing that? And they're like saying, well, how do I do good at this job? You want to communicate those goals clearly and upfront. Number 2, recognition and awards. It's important to recognize hard work through praise, awards, or possibly compensation. You could even tie in performance metrics with incentives. Acknowledging people's accomplishments makes them feel valued. If people feel valued, then they're going to stay at your company. They're going to like working at your organization. Really, what you're doing is you're rewarding desired behaviors. It's very important that whenever you give a reward, you explain to them why they're getting that reward so they could do more of that. That's what we do inside of our organizations and with our clients. Number 3, opportunities for advancement. From day 1 or within a reasonable time frame from their first start date, you need to show them this is what it's like to be successful here. You're going to be here at this role doing this job with these goals for the next 1 year. After that, a typical person with success goes here. After that, another year, a typical person with success goes here. And explain to them what you need. If they want to come here and they're here now, what skills do they need to acquire in that time frame? You have to effectively communicate that as a leader or a founder of your organization. Next is empowering them through decision making. You want to tell your people the parameters of the game. You want to say, here's out of bounds, here's out of bounds. Anything inside of bounds is perfectly legal, but don't do this and don't do this. Anything in between, you have full control over. What this does is it gives them autonomy. It gives them the ability to be able to make decisions and feel proud of the work that they're doing, to feel like they aren't having some boss micromanage them all the time. You don't have to micromanage them. You can just say, I need you to stay from here and here. Anything in here, is fair game. If it goes out of here, that's a penalty. That's out of game. That's not going to work. But just like Ronaldo, you tell Ronaldo, here's a soccer ball, or Messi, if you like Messi, Ronaldo or Messi. Here's a soccer ball. I need you to put this soccer ball in that goal. Here's out of bounds. Here's out of bounds. By the way, you can't touch it with your hands. Anything else is pretty much fair game. And then Messi and Ronaldo, they go and do their trick kicks and crazy maneuvers because they're staying in bounds. That's how you want to treat all of your frontline staff. And finally is feedback. It's absolutely crucial that you provide feedback to your team members and allow them to give you feedback, because with that feedback, you can make your company better, your product better, your work experience better. It's crucial that you're prioritizing feedback. Feedback's not a negative thing. Feedback is not a positive thing. Feedback is a standard practice in top performing companies. And I know you want to build a top performing company, right? That's why you're watching this video. That's why you stuck here so long. So give your team members feedback. I like to give our team members feedback every week, because that means in 1 year, they've had 52 feedback sessions. Think of all your bad employees, quote unquote, your bad employees. Have you given them 52 sessions of feedback? Be honest. Have you done that? I ask you to be honest. Most people haven't. The most successful companies, the top 1% of companies, these are the practices that they employ. So if you want to have a successful company and these successful companies are doing this, then wouldn't it make sense for you to do that? Powerful question for you. The next big thing when working with your frontline staff is setting clear expectations and KPIs. What is a KPI? KPI is a key performance indicator. The definition of it is performance measurement. The biggest pitfall that I've seen in small and medium-sized businesses is they don't have KPIs. Their people don't know how to be successful. And what typically happens is, I want to make the boss happy. This used to happen to me. So I'm going to save you, I figured this out maybe 5 years into my career as an entrepreneur. After my first 5 years, everything was what I called subjective. It was subjective based on my opinion. It wasn't objective, which was based on data. In fact, it was based on how I felt. I feel like Jessica isn't doing a good job because of my feeling, versus the numbers say that Jessica isn't doing a good job because she is servicing her customers with a 45% satisfaction rate. That's objective. The other one's subjective. So whenever you're giving feedback to your people, you want to make sure that you're giving them feedback objectively, because if you give them feedback subjectively, then you're the butthole boss. And you don't want to be the butthole boss. You want to be the fair but firm boss who's leading them and saying, these are the metrics that I need you on. And if they don't know the metrics, that's on you. That's on you for not being a good founder. And this used to happen to me. So I'm sharing with you what I did and how I changed that. And this is now what we implement for our clients and ourselves internally. We have KPIs. Here's some quick examples of what KPIs could look like. Number one, customer satisfaction score. After somebody receives something or buys something, send them a survey. That'll tell you a lot of stuff. Take the average of that and tie it to the person. Oh, Jessica was helping these 100 people and Samantha was helping these 100 people. Samantha has a 92% approval rate and Jessica's at 30%. What's going on there? Now you have objective data to be looking at. Another KPI example is response time. How fast are you responding to your leads or your customer inquiries? One of the most important ones is attendance and reliability. If you have 300 working days in a year and your team members are showing up 200 of them, well, they're missing a third, and that means that you're not getting a third of the output. Your clients are not getting a third of the possible support. There's a lot of things that could be going wrong with that. So look at that. That's a big important thing. And one of the most ways to track your profit is upsells or cross sells. So if you have anybody who's in customer service or sales and they're dealing with people, identify how often they're selling your product or service, or maybe upselling people. Or if they're in retention, how often are people saving people from canceling from your product or service or buying again, or maybe not doing a refund. So those are very crucial metrics. And just some examples. There's a whole bunch of other examples that you could go look up, but know your numbers. If you don't know your numbers, the next time you give feedback to your team members, it can't be negative because you have no objective data. Without objective data, you can't give them any guidance. You're lost. You're like, oh, well, I felt bad today. I'm from Texas. The Dallas Cowboys lost, and I'm going to take it out on everybody. And oh, Frank's in his mood again. You don't want to be like that. You want to say our numbers are down or our numbers are up. You can also give good feedback. So here's some actionable steps for you. Number one, define goals clearly. Make sure your frontline staff knows exactly what they need to do. Number two, provide feedback regularly. What I do for myself and my clients is once a week, we have a feedback session. We call this our accountability meeting, where we keep our team members accountable to our high standard. So now let's recap. The frontline staff is the most critical team member of any business. They deal with customers directly. They're working with your products and services. They got your hands on the product, the same product or service that your clients are going to have. So make sure that you prioritize giving them an amazing experience and an opportunity to grow by building a career path for them. Because just because somebody's at the frontline staff now, it doesn't mean that in a relatively short time, I'm talking 1 to 3 years, they could level up inside of your organization. So be that founder who builds that career path for them. Investing into the support and the training for your frontline staff, that's only going to increase team member retention, it's going to increase customer satisfaction, and in the long term, it's going to increase your profitability at your organization. A company that has team members that stay a long time, they have continuity, and that is a crucial aspect for long-term success. So here's some action steps for you. Get some paper, write this down, put it on a sticky note, stick it on your computer, on your phone, in your wallet, in your purse. Do it right now. Be a doer, be an action taker. Number 1, evaluate and assess your current frontline staff. Be honest. Be honest. How's Jimmy doing? How's Samantha doing? How's Sarah doing? Look at their strengths and look at their weaknesses. Look at their areas for opportunity to improve. Now, these people, if they have weaknesses, that's not because they're weak in that area. That's because you, as a founder, let's talk real, you as a founder, you haven't had that conversation and set up those clear levels of success saying, this is what I need from you. This is how to be successful. So take some accountability, take some ownership on what you need to communicate to your frontline staff because they're super important to the success of your business. Number 2, implement a support and a training program. If you don't have a training program inside of your organization, you need to get on that right now because that's going to take your game to the next level. Number 3, set clear KPIs and set expectations around those KPIs. Say, hey, these are our KPIs and people hit them here. These aren't we should, this is a we must goal here at the organization. If you do anything below this, you're at risk of being terminated because we don't tolerate anything below this. This is our standard. And then finally, motivate your people through recognition. Hey, if they're doing a great job, give them some praise. You don't have to give money. If you're a startup and you don't have money to give, don't give money. Give them a paid Friday off. Give them a half day, early exit. Find ways to get them involved, motivated, and inspired. All right, guys, that was it. In the next episode, we're going to cover how to bridge the gap between strategy and execution with mid-level management. Stay tuned. Make sure you see us on the next video.